moment, the city of Lagos waits and dark as all routes.
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV News.
24-hour news station.
Good morning and welcome to Core Digest. This is Core TV News flagship program where we discuss current affairs issues that are making headlines and also topical issues across the country that concerns everyone. And today we'll be taking a dive at the Osun governorship election that is coming up in a few days. And I have here gentlemen who are informed about political affairs and political happenings in the country to take us through discussions towards the Osun governorship election. I have here Dr. Suraj Olunifesi. He is a public affairs analyst, and you're welcome to Core Digest.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Also have Oseni Olabode, a political analyst. So you're welcome to the program Core Digest.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Before we go on with discussions, we're going to take a report on the security situation in Osun some few days ago, because the topic we're looking at today is Osun 2014, the security concerns. And we have a report from Osun which talked about some of the security situations happening there. We'll take a look at the report and then we'll back to continue discussions.
The Ogoluwa axis of the dual-carriage Gbogan-Ibadan Road, also known as Ogoluwa Road in Osogbo, is practically the busiest due to its importance as it aids free flow of traffic. The traffic congestion on the road has increased due to the presence of security personnel. Journalists were not spared as some materials were confiscated by the security agents. A motorist, Alabi Alim, says he is surprised at the display of force and the resultant traffic jam caused by the security men.
I'm surprised because this is not the usual thing. It's not the normal thing because this is democracy where I believe there is no need for police and so on the rest. I don't know. That's why I say I'm surprised.
Ogoluwa area of Osogbo have the secretariats of major political parties like the PDP and the APC. This APC chieftain blamed the sudden outburst by men of the state security as sporadic shooting was earlier reported in some parts of Osogbo by the DSS.
It's not fair, or it's not proper, but we are Nigerians. So this kind of things is not good in the civilized countries, but we are in Nigeria. So they use power. The essence of yes, it's too, this thing they want to panic our people, not to come out to vote. That's their mission.
A journalist, Nii Babade, says the harassment of journalists by the security agents is uncalled for. He said if this continues, people would be intimidated during the governorship election.
I've noticed them myself, the way they've been, you see masked men on the streets, you know. If it's about election, if it's the security is purported to be about the election, then the people on the street should be allowed to go on their normal duty and transact their business. It shouldn't be this masked men on the street blaring their siren and making people to be terrified.
This is the popular Ogoluwa Road in Osogbo, where we have most businesses located, most especially political parties and even federal government apparatus like the Department of State Security Service. And it is their activities that is building this kind of hold up. But most importantly, it is instilling fear in the minds of the people that if days to election, things like this are happening. What exactly will the day of election, the August night, what will it portend for the people of Osun? Rashid, Core TV News, Osogbo.
All right, we've seen that report from one of our correspondents on ground in Osun about the security situation then, and the topic we're looking at is the security concerns as regards the Osun governorship election that is coming up in a few days. And I will start with you, a public affairs analyst as you are. Now, what does this security situation say about an election? And let's relate it to an election, just as we've seen in the report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Election is supposed to bring a democratic dispensation. and supposed to bring about a change in government, and it's about people. Democracy is about people. It's the government of the people, by the people, for the people. The reason why countries are doing away with military options is that they've seen that the use of force and coercion is no longer the way to do things. You cannot run people or rule people by using force on them. It should be something like out of a free foundation. People should be able to express themselves. People should go about their normal business. Election or voting should be something of a choice, and it should be done in an atmosphere of peace, where people have their say and their way. Now, as you can see in that report, you see that people already, there's this element of fear and trepidation in society. People are coerced. And what you're going to see is that people are not going to go out to vote en masse, because any right-thinking person seeing guns, seeing people with masks, in fact, you are not even sure whether they are Boko Harams or other sort of human beings. People who are masked, they are telling that they want to be identified. And then if these people are actually security outfits, I don't see the reason why they should be masked. So that's mask of a thing, just like a masquerade. When you see students see masquerade, they run away. So when you see security outfits with mask, it brings fear, it brings trepidations. People are coerced. You see them not going out to exercise their free will, their fundamental human rights. And that tells you that many things are wrong with elections. And what I can say is that this is a kind of militarized election.
Okay, now before I take on Oseni on that, he's a political analyst anyway, and I would want to ask you this: what is the place of security in an electoral process?
Okay, the place of security is to guide the masses against violence. Is to get to ensure that there's no violence, to ensure that there's no rigging, to ensure that there's no ballot stuffing, and those kind of malpractices that goes with elections. And it brings about safety of lives and properties. That's the essence of security. But it is not about bringing fear or instilling fear, like we have seen, and some security guards will go in there to shoot guns, and as if there is a war going on in a country. You see, the essence of security is to ensure that there's orderliness, that people go out to vote, they're on the same line, there is no malpractices, there's no ballot. So those are the essence, to guide that your vote counts. That is one person, one vote. That's the essence of security.
Okay, Oseni or Labode, I'll take a link from what he said here, and then to what the president said during the mega rally of the People's Democratic Party in Osun. Now he's talking, what he is saying and explaining is security is supposed to provide guidance to ensure that there's no malpractice within the electoral process. And the president did say on the podium while he was giving his speech that the government will not fold its hands and see miscreants take over the street and cause mayhem, leading to the death of people, making reference to the death of about 10 core members in the 2011 elections. Now, do you see the security being provided in Osun as protecting all that has to be protected, just like Suraj has said in the election?
Yeah. Well, thank you. My take on this is very simple, and I want to keep it simple. For me, in a democracy, the one we tend to operate, it is an indictment on all of us at different levels. Because if by now, after 53 years of trying to rule ourselves and trying to put things together in a democratic manner, and we still have to deal with the issue of anything that would generate or create intimidation, fear, unnecessarily. Yes, it is true that when you and I leave our home, or when we get home, we do padlock ourselves. This is the place, this is a country where we need to put so much money into padlocking ourselves, putting ourselves in danger, than even enjoying the place we live. Having said that, I think when I said it is an indictment on us, what that means is this, that we are still yet to show that we are capable, we are able to operate a simple manual. Democracy does not need this kind of show of force in any form or shape. electoral processes, like you rightly said, is a thing that we gradually, when it gets to that, every 4 years, that we need to exercise our civic duty. And we have 4 years to prepare all this kind of arrangement. So when it's another 4 years and all what we can see is to display armories, armored vehicles, a large contingent of battalions. To do what? To get votes. These are little things an outside observer will be asking and say, is it because of election they are doing this? So when war comes in, what's going to happen? And when we now have a huge amount of issues that's supposed to have been dealt with by these forces we are talking about, we have a Boko Haram problem there. We have some other areas where we need to use our forces, not when it comes to election. And the other larger question is this: when it now comes to 2015, when the whole country will have to, substantial part of the country will have to go through the same process. How many soldiers do we have to use? Why are we now displaying? And if we genuinely do things to satisfy others, if we have any hidden agenda or intention or anything, leave very few people to oversee, to see that, let everybody be free and fair before they even cast that free and fair vote. But if you now make it to look like there's always tension, it shows clearly that there's a lot of things are wrong with us, that we have never been in peace anyway, that we're already always in perpetual tension. And that's exactly what we are displaying. Because for many years I have been outside this country, since 1970, aside, and I know I've been through many European countries. And I have lived in different countries also. And I know what it is when it comes to election day. Now, I do not need to go through all this.
Isn't those societies different from our societies and our norms?
You can say that now it shows. That is also, again, I can use that as an indictment. We should stop claiming that we are civilized. We should stop claiming that this is a civilized country, civilized people. And it's also very sad to note that the large collection of brains and opportunities we have, resources we have, we are squandering it on some other things. We cannot afford to continue living in a country where election has to be do or die. We cannot continue to live in a country where elections have to be saying that you only cast the vote anyway, your vote is not going to be counted anyway, because we have perfected or we have a means of coerce or doing things, So this is the fear. These are the things we need to be talking about. Because for me, yes, security arrangement at a polling station is an ideal thing, but not at we are going to war with Liberia. On what exactly are we talking about? Let people vote. This is democracy. Democracy is not all about war. It's not all about showing of forces. Democracy is something we operate by the people for the people, and in such a manner that we need to enjoy element of freedom.
Now talking about the show of force, actually, you talked about militarization and then bringing out all sorts of armory and security personnel to ensure safety. Isn't that going to give confidence to the electorate, to the voter, instead of putting fear in him? Isn't it supposed to give him confidence that I'm protected? A lot of security agents, so nobody is going to force me to do anything.
No, it cannot. Where there is fear, there's insecurity.
Now, where does the fear come from?
It comes from the gun. You see, nobody wants to see gun and be very happy. You see, there's no way that I want to go and vote and I'm seeing a person that is masked. In fact, do you know that there's a report that these so-called masked men, in the name of security operatives, they went to, what do you call it now, district, and the first thing they did when they got in, was to shoot guns sporadically into the air.
Now, was that an allegation or reality?
No, there are video clips to show.
Because the director, the DSS top right in Osun State came to of a statement when he was interviewed in the Punch newspapers to deny allegation that his men were shooting unnecessarily and sporadically.
But were they masked?
Now, these are statements that he didn't make, and that's why I said, were
good.
there allegations or they were realities?
Let's even assume that they were not shooting guns, they were not shooting into the air sporadically, but were they masked? Even the presence of the mask is intimidating. It's bringing trepidation, fears into the heart of people. And like I said, you see, once there is fear, there is insecurity. You see, what the government has just done was to intimidate people, was to put fear into their hearts. And the president makes such comment not at a conference with other political parties that they're going to use for. He did it in a campaign for PDP, where PDP stalwarts are in control, where himself is a member of PDP. And he did it so well that it's like giving assurance to his boys that don't worry, you PDP guys, don't worry, we're in control, we're going to use force to intimidate the other guys. That's what I saw. Because if the president have done it in a forum where he has other members of other parties, so they can say, look, I don't want problem here. I want this. And with all sincerity, that will have been, maybe people will still have their doubt. But when the president went to a campaign, a political campaign, in the same state, where he was campaigning for a PDP member, and he was saying that, don't worry, we are going to do this, it's a form of giving confidence. It's like a referee in a match. And then he's so partial. He knows what he met with the other party first and said, don't worry, this football match, we are going to win it. And then he went to the field and started. That's exactly what's happening here. It's an assurance that PDP guys, you come out and vote. Don't worry, there's not going to be any fear. We are in control. The other people, we are here to intimidate you, to harass you. That is the point.
Okay. Talking about the president in a campaign and a rally and the militarization and the provision of security. Now, the PDP has argued in so many instances that the president is not in campaign rallies in the capacity of the president, but in his position as the party leader in the country. You're a political analyst. Now, politically, what do you make out of that? Because he's trying to talk about the presence of the president with that form of security being provided.
Well, let's separate it. Let's also get it right here. Other countries of the world, the leader of political parties have gone to support the candidate of either a by-election or whatever local election or whatever, if they have the time to do so. And but then again, they've not gone there to show any form of might, any form of we are in control, and because of that, they've gone there to support that particular candidate on their manifestos, on what they are going to deliver, what they are going to do. Because again, like I said, in democracy, you let the people take decision. Let them do it in such a manner, in a conducive environment, in an environment where there will not be any fear or any form of, being, you understand me? So the point I'm trying to make here is this: if leaders of other political parties go to support their candidate, they are entitled to do so because they are in the same party anyway. So they take time to do that, but they have never, because you want me to compare, and I'm trying to do is to compare what is obtainable here and what is obtainable in other civilized countries. They don't go there to show force. They don't go there to make it look like it is my presence that's going to make you vote. They go there to sell their policies, their manifesto, what the people of that particular constituency is going to get if they vote for them. And I would have thought we should have gotten to that stage. But as it is, it's showing clearly that we are not. As far as we are concerned, it's also everything has been so personalized, politicized to a point that anything and everything we do, it has the connotation of it has to be this or that, do or die. And it's only around the time of when we are having election like this that we now start buckling up and making appointments, making people to feel like if you vote, you are going to get. And I think that is sad.
Isn't that a campaign strategy?
No. You see, as a political strategy, it cannot be. You see, a political strategy should be a book that contains the manifestos. you understand me, of a political party.
Ideologies.
And policies you are going to take. You sell that to the people. Let the people now, they have choice or choices. So they can now decide. We have countries where they have 4 or 5 political parties. That in Germany, in the UK, there are 3 political parties that are major out of many other political parties. People still vote for them according to how they believe in those political parties. And I've never seen that in Germany that every time they want to go to polls, they are going to be concentration on a large deposit of military personnel and army and so on, and mask and all that kind of thing, and carrying gun. I mean, I'm not saying, don't misunderstand me. As far as I'm concerned, as a person, you understand me? To me, that would not intimidate me probably. I will say, but I will now ask the question. Why do I need all this? Do they have to tell me what to vote? And these are the issues we should be discussing.
Okay, how do we place the past records of elections where we have ballot snatching, we have crisis and chaos and catastrophe at polling units and all that? Now, does that not form the basis on which a lot of security is being provided in elections?
Okay, like Otumba said, you see, this 53 years after independence, a toddler, even if you have given birth to a baby 53 years ago, then he's a grandfather by now. You see, it shows that many things are wrong with the system. And don't forget, we have had election in this country in 1993 under a military government in which that there was no this coercion and all this do or die and all this grandstanding and all this rubbish. And then the election went so well. And there was no intimidation. People vote, people campaign. Even everybody knows that this is free and fair elections. So what's going to use that time was some people appeared in mask that time. Even during the President Obasanjo's government, where he was the architect of this do or die matter. President Obasanjo, being a president, being a former military president, yes, never used coercion with his do or die. Never used, all the guns in this Nigeria have to be. You see, I would have expected Mr. President to do this. This is grandstanding and what I call political intimidation and militarization operations in Swansea Forest, where there's heavy presence of things happening there and there's need to rescue those girls. There's no, okay, I want to ask a question. Whose vote is Mr. President protecting? Is it the vote of PDP members or the votes of the general populace? You see, as a president, he's a leader of PDP, no doubt about that. He's a PDP member, no doubt about that. But it's also a leader. And then there are some statements you don't make at some forums that shows that you're a biased person. You see, just like I was using the issue of football, every referee, they have their own little bias, but they don't display it out. It is not in the field. You call some the ones and tell them that, okay, I'm here for you. You see, what I'm saying about Mr. President is that Mr. President should not have gone to a primaries, a campaign, in which he will now say that, don't worry, your votes will be protected by every military presence. It is wrong of a president to do that.
But
that is not wrong to do that.
He's not a referee in this match.
Well, he's a referee. You know why he's a referee? Because he has all their apparatus within his capacity. He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
INEC is referee in this match.
INEC, sorry to say, and that's another problem we have in this country. There's a systemic failure. See, what I call bleeding. The system is bleeding. INEC, with the name independent, I mean, but how independent is INEC? That's the question here. You see, and then INEC being independent, just let me go straight to Ekiti issues. There are still allegations against INEC about even this so-called, what they call ballot kind of way in which the ballot system was done. You know, in Surabaya 2013, something was used. People are now questioning that, according to Electoral Act, that indelible mark was not used for that ballot paper. And that ink was the ink that after some times it will fade away.
Okay, now
let's not get into this.
Let's not get into these issues. How independent is INEC? Let me put it to you as a political analyst. Looking at the independence of INEC and then the regulatory body that it is, the success of Ekiti election has is being blown up is being attributed to an extent to the large number of military presence, and that is the peaceful conduct of that election. Isn't that also informing the reason why the Osun election is being also saying security apparatus should be deployed in their numbers to also ensure that the electoral process in Osun will also be peaceful? Because the credibility of the Ekiti election was tied to the peaceful conduct.
When you say credibility of Ekiti election, now in retrospect, or now going back to that election in Ekiti now, we're now getting to hear, we have not had the last of Ekiti election. Yeah. Let's put it that way. So, and don't let us go too far into that, because that might take a long time.
No, just looking at the security apparatus.
Because if eventually it's now proven that this, you see, we are very good at different kind of manipulative technology. We are very good. I've been to places as a visitor now. I've been to places where I see Nigerian brains working, and I say, wow, this is too much. Because when I see them handling mobile phone and all what they can do with mobile phone, even not looking at the mobile phone and making this, even the people that manufacture mobile phone cannot even operate that way. So if there's another technology that has now been perfected to operate INEC documentation or papers or voting materials, then we have to wait and get to find out how it was done and how it has been done. Now, you are asking my colleague here, my friend here, about how it was in Ekiti, that it was the presence of the Ekiti, the presence of the military forces that made the election there peaceful. I disagree.
Okay, now we'll come back to continue with that discussion because of time. We have to take the news on the hour, and we will come back. We will take off from the military presence or security presence in Ekiti that some have said is why we had a peaceful conduct, and then we'll also look at the security concerns for Osun 2014. It's been Core Digest, and we've been talking with Dr. Suraj Olunifesi and Oseni Olabode, our political analyst, on Osun 2014 governorship election coming forward in a few days, the security concerns. We'll take news on the hour. We'll go for a break now, and we'll be back to continue discussions. Please stay with us.
Core TV News presents a platform with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be had. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733, 014-533-407.
Our 24-hour news station.